Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to today's conversation on Gift Healing TV. I'm Sarah Jane, and I am delighted to be joined by my co-host, David. David, hello.
Hi. Hello there.
Lovely to have you with us. Sadly, we haven't got Patricia this evening. She moved at the weekend and she's just feeling very tired. And anybody who's moved, they'll know what that's like. And our guest for this evening is Susan Brown. Susan, thank you so much for joining us and for choosing our topic this evening.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's a real pleasure. And our topic is becoming a clear channel. Susan, as you've picked a topic, because we love our guests to pick the topic we talk about, share a little of yourself and why this particular topic.
Okay, so I work as a shamanic healer and a life coach, and I picked the topic clear channel because I think about all the years that I've been working with people, and what I try to share with them is really to become a clear channel. So what I mean by a clear channel is somebody who is connected to spirit and also grounded. So as people know, like Reiki, where you're that hollow tube. And then I share with them, I'm very earth-based since I've had, worked with a shaman. I love teaching people out in nature. So I teach people through certain steps how to be a clear channel so they can really get answers from spirit to manifest and also feel at peace.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. David, your thoughts on clear channel?
I think it's something to clear everything out. And because this world, an energetic world, is very intrusive at the moment, what we've managed to do a clear channel maybe 10 years ago, I think we've got to work harder, haven't we, to clean that energy out. And I think it's really important so that you really connect and you get that clarity of connection from the universe, from your spirit guides, from your loved ones. And then that makes it easier for them to connect into as well, doesn't it? So that connection, whether it's a healing energy or whether it's a communication or whether it's the love coming through from the source, the clearer we can be, the more intense or more powerful that message or that energy can come through.
Yeah, and it's about our energies, isn't it? It's about sort of
Yes.
us, because it's making ourselves available for that, that understanding and accepting the fact, what, we can do this.
Yes.
When I realized that the mythical beings actually wish to share messages through me, and you go into that human ego mind thing, why me? Me? Really? Me?
Yeah.
Are you sure? And it was just like, do you know what? It worked. It happened. Initially I had to sit with a piece of paper and a pen and I had to write whatever came. It wasn't psychic writings, it wasn't automatic writing. I was aware of the thoughts in my head to the pen, sort of doing it that way. It's changed, it's developed over the years, but then I've been doing it a few years now. And it is trusting that. And it can be very difficult for a lot of people to think, actually, what am I getting? Is this, and there are times when I think, okay, is this me or is this them? But actually, is it not that we're connected to everything anyway? So it is all of us, isn't it? So, Susan,
Oh, I agree with you. It is amazing. And also about, the world today, the cell phones, everybody is connected to that, all that information. And if you think about everything, the food we eat, the people we talk to, our friends, everything is energy and it's all around us. And I guess what I like to share is also that we don't even realize all this energy is around us and it's affecting us, which is very hard. So being, talking to people or going into a room, that maybe people aren't happy, being empathetic, and feeling people. It's just very interesting. And I love sharing with people how to do that, you know, well, through earth based, going out into nature, spirit walks, and doing all that. So the steps that like I use is clearing your energy, protecting your energy, and grounding your energy. And it's quite fun, and you can create it any way you want because there are no rules, you know?
Yeah, no rules at all. David,
Yeah, it was interesting because I love getting out and getting into the country and into rural. And today I went out and had this beautiful walk in this 400-acre park that we've got close by. And we walked by the river, myself and my friend, and we just sat there and we felt we could breathe. It was like all the muck, for want of a better word, from the city or from the town. We were clear and it was so refreshing. And it would just made as if your soul could breathe. And, I try and get out on these walks twice a week. But we had an influx of energy on Sunday. Should we call it that, Sarah? Coming in, and not the energy you necessarily wanted. And it was all focused for 3 o'clock. Now, I'd put shungite on, and I'd got a Faraday bag for my phone, which protect the EMF and everything. But still, I could feel that intensity of energy coming straight into the third eye, and I felt really quite nausea with it. I know I'm a sensitive to a degree, but people who aren't sensitive are getting this and not realizing that their body is being so affected, you know?
yeah. Yeah, what David is talking about for those outside the UK is we had the government decided to do this test, whereas in the very old days we had the sirens. I do remember the sirens because they'd been used during the war to warn people if there were planes coming over from Germany or whatever. But they still used them for a number of years if there was a major fire local to you. And so we had these sirens. They're not there anymore. So there is no warning system if there is something dramatic, drastic happening or going to happen. And so they decided to sort of do the linking to everybody's mobile phone. And at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, they were going to send this thing out to the front. Bearing in mind, I don't really do mobile phones. And the phone I've got is just like a little old flip phone that doesn't actually do the internet. So they missed me totally.
That's good.
Because I don't do that. So yes, I was made aware of it, but it missed me because it doesn't matter if they got my number. I'm just not connected by the internet to it. So, but there were millions of people on different networks that didn't receive it. But that's just a bombard of noise, and we know how sound affects us, and sound can really support that clearing and that becoming that channel, as well as sort of you get the wrong sounds, and it can really disrupt that whole. But it's all about vibration. It's all about vibration. So it really is.
And I think that's an important part of it, is so people start to understand that there is that vibration out there. There is that energy. And, like we were talking about before earlier about the bugs and everything. So you get so used, like, I didn't realize, no, we don't have bugs on our windshield anymore, or things. So you get so used to everything, or you get used to, your phone beeping, 20 times a day, which mine is on silence always, so people can't get a hold of me. But it's all that stuff that's around you. Even when I was in Peru, um, I had a cook making my food, and when I ate the food, I could tell what kind of mood he was in. It's on that like simplest level. Like when
Yeah.
he was really unhappy and I ate the food, I felt terrible. So it's in everything. And just for people to understand, sometimes it's like, oh, I can't really think. I can't concentrate. What is it really? It's not really you. It's also probably maybe the energy around you that is kind of like, I think about taking your energy. So yeah, it's great for people to be aware of the energy around us. If it is energy that we want to bring in, the back, giving and receiving, that's great. But if it's something that you don't really want, first you have to be made aware of that it is there. And then once you know that it's there, then you can do something about it. Like you just don't have that phone. They're not getting to you. I like
I
that.
don't. I think it is, as you say, we are. There's many people aware of how energy affects us and how sound affects us. And if we're not, well, we can go into a club and go, oh, that music, or the radio comes on and it just rattles you. But there are some, and it really does hit those who are sensitive more. But, for people that are aware, they're absorbing, and that's no bad thing, it's just who they are, but they're absorbing all this negativity or lower vibration into their body. And also, like all the sound frequencies that we don't tune into, but our animals and pets do. And then there's all the angst and all the fear and all the trauma that everybody's going through around the world. And it's all affecting us and it's coming in. And if we get clogged up, we can't listen to ourselves so much. Never mind if we're
Right.
channeling, we can't hear ourselves or tune into ourselves because we've been clogged up with that energy, haven't we?
It's
Exactly.
for me, for years. I decided what I'm doing with the mobile phone thing. That's my choice. I get some people saying to me, "But you've got to. That's how the world's going." Only if everybody chooses for the world to go that way.
Mm.
We managed very well for a number of years. We didn't have to go shopping with this thing next to our ear. Sort of. Once we got answer machines, people could leave you a message. So, but anyway, but it's thinking about for years. I sort of said, right, I'm on a bad news diet. So I have stopped listening to the news and reading newspapers. And seriously, the difference it makes to me and my energy.
Oh,
And,
100%.
it does. And it was learning that the universe had decided to give me lead boots. Because sort of because actually I suppose I would like to float off and be out in the universe, sort of because we all have that ability to do that. We come from something so much more than this tiny little planet, sort of. And I then had to go to them and say, actually, I'd like to get rid of these lead boots. If I ground myself every day I put my roots down. I ground every day. But I don't actually just put my roots down. What I do is become the tree. And so I stretch up, and it's putting my branches up to connect with source. So I'm actually not just grounding myself, but I'm opening myself up with that connection to both.
So that's very interesting. So I
Yeah.
also think, as far as like a clear channel, what I see it as is a bridge. Like, I don't know. Some people know the magician card, the tarot card, the Brit, where he's reaching up to the spirit and he's also grounding, to the earth. And so that's where we become that clear channel, the clear source of information.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
good.
I was talking to a friend a couple of months ago, and she said you've really got to work on detoxifying yourself from as much as possible, because everything is getting infiltrated within you, all the unseen energy, shall we say, and all that we don't see that's out there, the mobile phone waves, the TV waves, the all the, say, emotional waves that are going on, and we don't realize that when we're working and we're opening to this is just coming in like a flood, isn't it? And we've got to work so much harder on keeping our channels clear so it's not toxified, for want of a better word, or infiltrated.
Yeah. Yeah. And I work on my chakras every day. There's something, and sort of the boosting of the aura. I think it's about our energies, and I appreciate people. Oh, good, but how much do you do? I haven't got time to do that. It's find a way to support yourself. You know, I do things morning and evening. There are certain things I do before I actually get out of bed in the morning. The grounding and the connection with source. That I do before I get out of bed. The chakras, there's an exercise I do with the chakras. I do before I get out of bed. And yes, it's like I'm awake. I know I've got to get up, but I've probably got 20 minutes of stuff to do. But then the gratitude. I like to stay away from the word prayers. But there is the gratitude and the requests for the day. But I do that while I get on with my morning, my early morning, the getting up, the opening up, sort of getting the breakfast, getting washed and dried. I do that while I am doing that. It's not a matter of sitting or kneeling down and sort of being in prayer position and sort of, it's because the universe we're here to have a human experience. If whatever we put in our morning routine within the everyday of life, the universe absolutely, providing our intention is pure, and that can help keep our energies. If you've learned a technique like Reiki, how often do you use it? Because the more often you offer it, I open the Reiki channel for all the food that is eaten, drunk, and prepared in our house every morning. I open the channel every day. I open the channel for myself and my mailing list. My mailing list, my healing list, sorry. My healing list every evening as I go to sleep. Because it's not about being in control of the energies. The people receiving get the choice to say yes or no. I get the choice to say yes or no. But we're supporting ourselves. If you've learned something like Reiki, you know you can use it on yourself. Why wouldn't you? I learned it because I chose to learn it for me. The fact I've gone on to teach it and go beyond level 1, that was always going to happen. I just didn't know that. But it's trusting that. And something as simple as Reiki, which opens you up and attunes you to that channel so that you can channel that energy to others and for others. That is where the channeling aspect, the becoming a clear channel aspect, really started for me. So actually, both of you, do you want to share potentially where it started for you? Because I think this could be really helpful to people listening, that it had to start somewhere, and we were probably all of a reasonable age. It didn't come to us as kids, as children. We did have it when we were born, but we weren't aware of it. So, Susan, any thoughts from you?
Well, I guess the first time I really realized something about energy was I was in a spiritualistic church group, and I was interested in, you know what, at that time I had no clue. It was just like spirit, go, try this, go here, go here. And I just kept on following. So I was in this group and we were learning how to do mediumship and also healing, like hands-on healing. So when I was doing the hands-on healing, the teacher was saying, okay, you're a healer and you're a medium. And I was like, still had no clue. But what I noticed is the energy was coming through me. And, I was like shaking because I could think of it now because I really wasn't clear. I was like trying to push this energy through me. It wasn't natural. It didn't feel, and I was like, this isn't right. Then I heard the word Reiki, had no clue what it was. And I was like, okay, I want to try that. And then it just kept on following and following. And then, opening my senses and stuff. So, I think for myself at my age now, there was nobody really to talk to, at that
Yeah.
time, as far as, at that time I said, I want to open my third eye. I had really no clue what that was either. But, and they would tell me, try this, a tea, rub this here, and it was like all these other things. And so I guess for me, I really had to go on my own personal journey, which, took me into 6 months of studying with a shaman, almost dying of malaria and learning all these lessons, plant and tree spirit medicine, ayahuasca, and, 3 near-death experiences. And I, and that's how I came about, understanding, I can look back today and go, oh, okay, this is the experiences I went through. So I guess what it's important for me is to really kind of help people now that so they don't have to, go 6 months and, do ayahuasca and San Pedro and all those things and all those experiences that were, they were amazing experiences. Such, they really helped me and transform my life to who I am today. But I think there might be an easier way. So that's, that's my path. That's how I went. And I know there's an easier way than that now.
David.
Mine started all just over 30 years ago now. And what it was, I was actually homeless in Aberdeen. And I became homeless, no fault of my own. And I was living on the streets some nights, and it was very cold up in Aberdeen in the winter. I can assure you of that. And it was while I got temporary accommodation in a friend's house. They said you could stay here for 2 or 3 days. I saw spirit starting coming towards me, and I saw spirit as solid as a CU here, and it freaked me out. I must admit, I went, oh my goodness, either it's my time to join them, or I need some supportive help. But they come through when I talked about it to the family. Um, one was my great uncle, who I'd never met before, but from what he was saying. And then I went to a development group, and during that, my back collapsed. So I was introduced to Reiki. So my Reiki path has kept me out of a wheelchair because that's what they were preparing for me, to have a metal rod down my spine because my back was collapsing. And that was my late 30s. And I had Reiki, and it just changed my life. And then the development circle, I had really good teachers where they gave us a very good grounding, very much about protection and not accepting anything that is no good for yourself coming in. So that was a real thing. So it started there, and then the rest is history, as you can say. There's been so much in between. But thinking about that, the lesson I learned is very much the self-care that we all need to put into place, which is part of keeping your channel clear, isn't it? And making sure you are clear, and whatever you can do to put in self-care to keep your energy as pure as it can be, that is just reminding me to say, okay, sometimes we've got to get back into that discipline of self-care, which we all speak about and advise others to do, don't we?
Very
This
interesting.
is really, I'm laughing here, but this is really about the self-care that we need. And this is a great reminder, and you said about earthing, Susan, and there's nothing better than walking bare feet on the sand or through the grass. It makes you feel alive, and it just refreshes the body, doesn't it?
Hmm. They did studies about that. I think it's Japanese forest bathing, and they did studies how their blood pressure 15 minutes in the forest totally changed them. Their blood pressure came down. All these things that happened to the people that they did the studies on. It's just amazing. But when you were talking, it reminds me of like simple things that everybody can do, because you think about Reiki, right? Energy. And so one of the things is, if you think about the food you eat, right? Because we're all affected by the food, even if we know it or we don't. But what I share with people is, go shopping. When you go shopping, you pick out the food, and it's like picking out things you love, and then bringing it home, and then cooking it, and feeling great, and maybe having music on. It's all the whole part of the experience. And if you taste the food, it tastes even better because you're adding your own personal love in the food.
Yeah,
And you could either, sometimes I used to, with my daughter, we'd sing, some silly song, and it just makes you feel good. And then you're getting all the nutrition in the food.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose that's why my sort of thing is about the Reiki, opening the channel for the food in the house and the drink every
Right.
day. But eaten, drunk, and prepared. Because sometimes you prepare food and take it out, sort of sometimes you might do the takeaway and bring it in, sort of, or if you have
yeah,
friends around and everybody's brought dishes round, it just means that it's a blanket cover. It's a coverall.
Covers everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and I do feel that that's important. If you have that ability to be able to do that, why not use it? And for me, it's also about, part of the self-care is the saying yes to those things that resonate with you and saying no to those things that don't. And
Right.
absolutely.
and it's not selfish. I think I can't remember who it is, but I'm sure it's a famous actor. And there's actually the saying, I am so grateful to all those people who said no to me and made me do it myself.
That's
Because
right.
when we actually do things for ourselves, that is part of our growth. You know, I don't like using the word change. I don't think any of us need to change, because change suggests there's something wrong with us.
Right.
When you use that word growth, it means we're helping ourselves to move beyond where we are today and take ourselves to that next step. And it was like the teaching that I've been doing, which actually was sort of one of my nieces, doing her level 2 Reiki. And it's been a real experience, I think, for her and for me. Because rather than doing it through 2 solid days, it's actually been more like 4 half days. So it's been spread over about 5 weeks, actually. But we've got there, and she's really grown within that period of just doing her level 2. And something did come out of it. There was something cropped up, something very definitely came out of it. And what was, I can't remember exact wording, but it was just like, I've realised that I've actually got to be involved in this process. It's not just a matter of me doing the course and it will just happen for me. And we're very good as humans of, okay, fine, sort of, how little can I do? And I know I can be as guilty as the next person of that one, because we all are. But if you really would like to make something work for yourself, and that includes the channeling, I was really surprised when I was like, I'm going to be channeling messages? Really? But I was already channeling Reiki, and I'd already discovered I'm channeling sound in the form of toning. When I use that, it's not me. It's just that whoever's energies I'm bringing through, they're using my vocal cords. So I'm already acting as a channel. It's just accepting the fact I'm one big channel, but we all are. And it's finding the ways that work for you to help you to be open for those energies to come to you and and through you. And we're all unique, and we all have our own unique ways. Some of the things I share may resonate with people, but then you may think, nah, that doesn't sound right for me. But oh, that does. Something Susan David shared. That's why I love doing these programs, because people can get different perspectives and different thoughts, and so sort of, yes, we're very much about sharing how do we become a clear channel. So one of the things you put in your, let go of feeling being stuck. And we're all good at feeling stuck, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
So Susan, sort of, any thoughts? And then we'll come to you, David, afterwards.
Well, you know what? I really enjoyed what you said about us doing the work. So, like you said, we can share. So, it's like we share all this information, and it's up to whoever we're sharing it with if they decide to take it, use it, or transform it into something else that works for them. Because, like you said, we're all unique, and everybody in some ways is intuitive. We get messages different way, like clairaudience, clairsentience, where we hear, we see, we feel, we know. So it's all coming in and learning how we get our messages and how we just hear everything or feel things. When I first started, I just felt everything. I had no clue, but it was like, oh my God, it's kind of like my puppy. I take it out for a walk and it sees somebody and it goes, no, I don't want to go near that person, or, oh, I love you, But yeah, it's important for all of us to do our own work. Somebody else can't do it for you. So I think I love what you said. It's all that self-care. I think for so many years people have told people, you can't be selfish. It's really self-care because that means you love yourself and you want to take care of yourself. Like remembering to do like certain things that, like our morning, rituals and our meditations and our gratitude and everything else. Sometimes we get off the horse, then we get back on the horse. But we need to do the work, for ourselves. Somebody
Yeah,
else can't do it for
Yeah,
us.
David.
I think you're right, Susan. You know, I was what I found was what I found saying was if we're doing the work for other people, they're not learning their lesson. And if we take that work away, we're taking away their lessons and their growth. So what happens to them, they get the same lesson, only a bigger kick. And they come back and say, oh, it's got worse. Because we kindly sometimes take it away from them because we don't want them suffering. But taking away people's lessons is really not good for them. It's not good for us. But their lessons, they've got to grow with it and go through it. We can facilitate and hold that space for
Right.
them and support them to go through it, but we cannot do it for people. We are here as a facilitator, I suppose, to allow them to heal themselves and give them the guidance and support. But it's really, I had to learn that the hard way. Because I thought, oh, give me that underneath, give me that, I'll take it away from you. Let it go, put it in my bowl. And I was becoming ill because I have to process my own things, but then I was getting tired because I'm carrying other people's and I can't process other people's lessons. I've got enough with my own. So, and that's how I learned it. And that way you become a clearer channel. And now, Sarah, know I use a lot of music or tones in my work as well to clear the house and use the solfeggio frequencies, which is available to everybody just to put in the background and using sound to clear their space, to balance themselves. And it's such a simple technique, but we all need to connect in and really take care of ourselves during this massive transition period that the world is going through.
It's very interesting, where I heard you say, David, simple, simple. So many people try to complicate things, and it
Yeah,
is really very simple. And then also, I was thinking
yeah,
about when you said about our lessons. I used to joke around about my own lessons. So if it was like, okay, Spirit gave me a lesson, it's like a 2x4, hitting you over the head. And then, you don't get it, 4x6. Okay. You
yeah,
still don't get it? Okay, let's give it to you, And then by then, okay, I got it. I got my, you're right.
yes,
So important for us to learn our own lessons, and being that space holder, for people. And that's what we're there for, is to hold the space for them.
And I think
yeah,
it's really important when you are constantly doing for somebody else, you're holding two people back, them and you, because you
yeah,
can't be doing your working with your own stuff, and are you doing the stuff for others to run away from the things that you really should be doing for yourself, or do you think you're being kind to other people? Because it's back to that tough love. No, I've done this, I've shown you this before. Now you show me. I will stand here. You show me what, because and I've heard this said so many times, that people do know what they're doing, they haven't got the confidence. But you ask somebody to teach somebody else, and suddenly you realize just how much you do know. But if it's something you do automatically, and it's really realizing that in life. And that word selfish, that bugs me.
Oh,
Because okay, what is selfish? What is truly selfish? And I know I've shared about this before. I ask one of you, will you do so and so for me? That really doesn't resonate with you. And the answer has to be no. And if I turned around and said, that's really selfish of you, who's the selfish one? The selfish one's me, because I'm accusing you of being selfish. This is the human condition. We put onto others what is actually going on in our own lives. And it's selfish of me to expect you to do something that doesn't resonate with you.
yeah.
So the selfish one is the person who said no. The selfish one is the person who is accusing you of being selfish.
You know, when I just remembered when I started my journey, you know how it's, I used to say yes to everybody. You know, I, someone asked me to go out for dinner and I really didn't want to go out for dinner. I was like, oh, okay. Or they asked me to do something. And that was my biggest transformation when I realized that I had to do that self-care. That was like, wow, okay, I've been doing all these things for everybody else. I mean, I did things for myself, you know, but the majority was doing things for others, even though it wasn't something that I wanted to do, but I thought that's what I was supposed to do. You know, I wasn't supposed to be selfish. You know, I was supposed to take care of everybody. That was my job. So that's very interesting. I forgot about that. Thank you, Sarah.
But I think that's just it, isn't it? I was a people pleaser for so many years of my life because of my insecurities. So if there's anybody that listens to this and they're thinking, but I can't do what you do because you know, how are people going to judge me for being open to all of this? And the biggest enlightenment, that biggest light bulb moment was, why am I worrying about what other people think of me when they're not?
Right.
Because they've got so much going on in their own lives. And
Yeah.
you know, even if they do give you a second thought, you know, and if you do get somebody that turns around and says, oh, what are you doing? That's their stuff. It might be that actually what they're thinking is, oh, you've got the courage to do it. I haven't.
Yeah.
You don't know what is behind their words. And it could be jealousy and envious because you've got the courage to say to your life, bring it on.
Yeah.
Because that's what you are doing. You're saying, bring it on. I've come here. I've got gifts. Every single one of you out there, every single one of us, we have got gifts. We have been given these amazing gifts, whatever they might be.
Absolutely.
Have the courage. You know, you're doing your aura mists, David, and you're doing so much more. Me with the voice and the working with vocal, what I call vocal Reiki, and sort of having that courage. I don't care where I am. If I need to use that sound, that toning, I'll do it. Because I've got over that worrying about what other people think about me. Because they're not.
Sarah, that is so funny because you're right. You know, you go, I was, it was my day off and I'm like going, oh, I have to go do something. What are people going to think if I just sit in my house and maybe take a bath? And then it was like, does anybody really know what I'm doing? But that's a very important point. You know, that's great. Thanks for sharing that because that's the big aha. That's
Yeah. And by you taking your power, you're clearing your channel and not blocking yourself with other people's issues again. And you bring it in and you slow you down and you're thinking 3D in your head, thinking, oh, I wonder what this person said. And in the meantime, you're clogging up your own channel, to keep clear. So I totally agree, you've just got to go out there and say, this is me, and put yourself there. And that helps clear everything that we may take on because we're thinking, what are they going to say? I've learned that late in life. And I think the longer I've lived, the easier it's got to say, well, this is me. Take me or leave me. Because nobody can please everybody. Nobody can help everybody. And there'll be people we resonate and people we don't resonate with, and vice versa. And that's absolutely fine. That's why there's so many individuals here. So to come together in their own ways,
Makes
But
life exciting.
yeah, I found I don't know how long ago it was. I found a great little simple technique, and I don't know whether you know it, for clearing the channel and blocking everything out. So if you've heard it, please say. But I get my left arm, put it on my solar plexus, get my right arm and put it on top. And I just say to myself, this is for me, this is mine. Because all that vibrational energy that you don't need comes into our solar plexus and gives us tummy upsets, digestive problems, and then it goes into the lower chakras, doesn't it? And then we clog up. So I just do this most mornings. I'm not saying every morning because I'm not perfect. But most mornings I'll get up and I'll say, this is for me, this is mine. And that gradually puts an energetic barrier for things that are not resonating for me. And I found that really good to try and keep as much out of interfering in my clarity of channeling as much as anything else. But it's so, once again, Susan, it's simple. We don't have to be complicated. Otherwise, we go up in here, and just by doing this, it's such a simple technique. 2 minutes of your day.
And
Yeah.
that's amazing. I'm going to try that one too. But the thing is it is simple, and I always say, when I hear people, it has to be done this way or this way, or if you're connecting to spirit's not going to say, if you want, to open up and channel energy, spirit's not going to say you're doing it wrong. There's there's no wrong way. It's just I just find that it's very funny. So whatever we do, however we do it, if we come, like Sarah, you were talking, when we come from the heart and we
Yeah.
put it out there, we receive, no matter which way we do it. If we're standing in the wrong direction or we say the wrong word or whatever it is, it's all good and simple, right, David? It's all simple.
Everything has to be.
Yeah.
I think we've complicated through our lives. We've been made to be complicated to make things all viable, and for making, let's say, our peers or our teachers feel they're worth something by making things complicated along the way. And at the end of the day, life should be simple. Life
Yes.
shouldn't be complicated. We shouldn't be up in here all the time. We should be in here. And the more we can be in here, the clearer we can be for our own gut instinct or our own guidance. And if we're not working as a light worker or, anything, if we come from here, we are so, like you say, Sarah, it's so simple. Life will follow your gut instinct,
Yeah.
because they're the true instincts, and that you can build your own clarity of channel up yourself, can't you? and listen to yourself more.
Think of the word kiss.
I was thinking of that.
Keep it simple. Now they use the word stupid, and I don't really like that.
I hate stupid. I hate that word.
But keep it simple, sweetheart.
Ah,
Okay, I'm going to use that one now. Can
So
I borrow that?
You can use
that's-
you can use kiss, but it's keep it simple, sweetheart. Because I don't think it helps anybody to call them stupid. Because
That was a word my father never let me say. Stupid and idiot. We got in a lot of trouble.
well, because we're very good at using the term for ourselves, and
yeah,
and actually maybe this is the point that was meant to come up. How do you speak to yourself? What is the terminology you use for yourself? Because if you go around calling yourself stupid, an idiot, dingbat, whatever, whatever term that means that you are less than you actually are. Be careful the words you use, because you are listening and you are putting that energy into you. And I've got somebody very close to me, and they say things to themselves, and every time I hear it is, please do not speak to yourself like that. No, it's all right. My body understands. I'm doing it from a sense. And I'm thinking, no, your body doesn't. It is hearing the energy of that word, not, sadly, the energy you think you're putting into that word.
And you're creating your reality.
yeah,
Yes,
Like,
yeah, exactly. And you're clogging up.
yes.
What I became aware of, although I don't tend to get much, it's a sense of knowing with me. It's not even a feeling. It's just a knowing. And I was working on somebody with a Reiki session, and I came to their solar plexus. And the solar plexus for me is like a well. So it is where everything that you haven't dealt with, you haven't understood as a child, how to deal with things. So they don't go away. They're just stored in this well that is full of gunk because it's all the stuff you haven't dealt with. And with this particular person, I became aware that the lid was off, but all that horrible stuff was still inside. And I mentioned it to them afterwards, and they said, no, I had a session. And I have no idea what the session was, but somebody told them they'd cleared absolutely everything for them. Yeah, right. And I turned around to them and I said, I am really sorry. They've removed the lid of the well. It's all still in there, because until we work on whatever it is, and we can acknowledge it to be able to release it and let it go, it's not going anywhere. And so, sadly, unless it is something that you are absolutely ready to go, nobody can do it for you.
Right. And
I
that's
think
a
it is.
very important thing.
David.
Sorry, it's like working with your shadow self, but embracing your shadow self, giving it love because it's part of who you are, and that's fine. We've all got little bits of gunk somewhere, but if we embrace them and give it love, it's so much easier for it to heal and move on. And we've dealt with it, and I think that's really important. We all have a shadow self. If we embrace it, give it love, and then move it on, it clears from us, doesn't it? Because we've acknowledged it, given it love, and it can move as well. And it's all part of becoming clearer for ourselves, and then we understand ourselves more, where we want to go, where our soul needs to be. It makes it so much easier, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah. every
We need to
experience,
do our own work.
every experience we have has created who we are and where we are. And without those experiences, we wouldn't be who we are and where we are. So,
Yeah.
in spite of the experiences I've had in my life, I wouldn't change a single one of them because I'm now in a place that I am comfortable and confident in. And
Yeah.
that's the important thing, isn't it? It's that finding that person within you that you are here to be in this lifetime.
And it's a journey.
Yeah.
We never get, like some people say, want to get there, enlightenment. And I'm like, it's a journey. We're all on a journey. We all have lessons. All three of us, we're on a journey. And there
Yeah.
can still be more lessons always. And those are, you're right. Looking back and thinking about in my life and my lessons, they're who I am today. If I didn't, listening to you, it's like if I didn't have those lessons, I wouldn't be Susan, who I am today. So it's very interesting.
We're getting very close to the end. Yes, I know. But it's been a fabulous conversation, and I hope sort of that sort of folks watching this have really enjoyed it and will get something from it, realizing that we are all totally unique, and it's all about us doing what is right for us. You can listen to other people and you can think that fits, that doesn't. And do and find those things that resonate and work with you. But Susan, David, any final words that you would like to share with folks before we close? So come to you first, Susan.
There's so many things that we've shared already, that so many aha moments that speaking with you today, just, doing your own work and keeping it simple and finding techniques to, like David, you were talking about, keep on doing your work and Sarah Jane, as far as making it easy, like meditation in the morning. One tip I just want to share is like, those mothers that are very busy or busy households. I shared this, and before you get up, keep your eyes closed, and you can do your meditation or you can do your gratitude, you can do whatever you want, and nobody knows you're awake yet. And then, when you open up your eyes, then the kids will go, oh, okay, or your husband, your partner, whatever. But take that time before anybody gets up, keep your eyes closed, and you can sit there and you can, do something at that point. So that's a tip I'm just going to share.
Wonderful. I
David.
think whatever we do, we think we've got to make ourselves care for us in so many different ways. And it's 2 minutes a day sometimes with the hands, or like you say, just closing your eyes and giving yourself good thoughts, or close your eyes and say, you are a beautiful being, and I will accept everything that's good for me, and I won't accept anything that's not good for me. And if you do that, your channel becomes clearer, you understand yourself more, and you'll hear yourself more, what you need. But keep it simple. I echo your words.
The words for today: keep it simple.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Sort of, and trust and believe in yourself, because
Yeah.
we're not taught to do that. So
Care, self-care.
absolutely. This has been brilliant. Thank you so very much for joining us, Susan. David, thank
Thank
you,
you.
obviously, sort of for being
Thank
here as
you.
well. It's so much appreciated. Next week, there's a thoughtful nuggets and pearls, and it's just going to be me learning versus remembering. Just a few little thoughts on that. And then in a couple of weeks' time, we've got another today's conversation. Now, this should just be you, me, and Patricia, shouldn't it, David? And we're going to be talking
I
about
think so.
this facilitating soul recognition on a global level. So, wow. As with every conversation, we have a title, we have a little write-up. Goodness knows where it'll end up.
I like that.
So thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, David. We'll see you again, folks, soon. Love, peace, and light to you all. Namaste. Bye.
Bye.